So we show their interest in the subject or what now?
And if it's JAMB, you have to take all the subject for JAMB.
It depends on the student available for that job now.
So somebody is really waiting.
Will they see me or would I see them?
And you'll be seeing their comments.
I can't see their person.
And you can't see their face.
And they will not see me too.
They'll be seeing you. They'll be seeing you. We are ready. One second.
Am I wearing the shirt?
No.
Where are they joining us from?
From? It's our normal viewers now.
Nigeria, nobody's joining from.
I don't even know. What is this paper?
It's the job that is coming on.
I think I'll join now.
I know that the more of JAMB, more people joining JAMB, JAMB is coming. You know, JAMB is an external exam, not like our head like to say that in school. From 13th that's reduced to 7. Notice nothing's going on.
And I have not yet started. I'm trying to save this thing. Come on, sir.
So they already seen that JAMB 26 question.
They're already seeing everything. I'm coming. See that I'm already seeing their comments safe. Something's not correct.
You're responding to them, let type too.
I'm coming. Just give me a minute. What's going on? See that? These are you seeing there already. Message.
Can I chat to that subscriber?
Yes, you can subscribe. You can chat with them. It's just I'm yet to know this thing that is locking. Why is it locking?
Can I say hello?
Yes, you can press got it.
This one?
Yes.
So I say hello. Alright?
Yes.
Hi everybody.
What's going on? Show is locked.
It's ready. Set it up for you. How do I click? Okay, that's this.
Setting up.
Setting it up for you. Setting it up for you. A moment. Setting
They won't even know that it's you because of the accounts I used.
Settle up.
Okay,
For you, hang on.
let me see if it's showing.
I didn't see my own chat now. Settle up for you, hang on. So let's sit here.
And that's it. You used another. You used. They are hearing everything we're saying, so I don't want to
Oh, okay.
come. You can speak now. Maybe we do it like this. You can start, you don't need to type again. Just say anything, they can hear you now. Yes.
Hello everybody. Good to have you here today. I can see some of you already on. Sonia, saw you there. Usman, Isaac, how you doing? Rita, how are you? Daniel, I can see you. Lillian, welcome. Esther Nekam, how you doing? Welcome to class. At this time, we have some likely JAMB government questions to treat. So please hang on and let's run through this together. If you have any question, you can always put them up at the chat room and I'll find a way of responding to you. You are welcome. You can also get your pen and your paper if you have anyone for some things you need to jot down for your review and your practice. I wish you all the best. Let's go. Power that is delegated is exercised by, when we say delegated power, you know what it means? That's a type of power. Okay? By devolution, directly, by coercion, indirectly. Such power is devolved, that's devolution. Devolution. Delegation, a form of power that's delegated is devolution. It's not coerced, coerced is by force. It's not directed, that means the owner of the power is using it. But here we're talking about delegated, okay, by devolution. Alright? Let's see the next question. Dija sovereignty is acquired through, we have about 7 types of sovereignty. One of them is Dija, we also have de facto. The Dija sovereignty is the one that's acquired through a democratic process. Okay? While de facto is one that's acquired by force, by coercion. Just like the military, that's de facto. So Dija is acquired through a democratic process. That's by law. A is the correct answer. Okay? Don't worry, it will get stable. Just hang on. The engineer is working on the camera, it will get stable. Lillian, hang on. Let's look at the next question. a group of people who live together under a common law within a definite territory is a what? A community, a nation state, a nation or a state. If you look critically at this question, there are some fundamental elements that we need to identify. One, there's a common law, which is the Constitution. Okay? There's a common law, which is the Constitution, law. There's a definite territory, that is a boundary. And there's a people, a group of people. So with these three major concepts, these are characteristics of a state. A state is a geographical entity with a defined territory, with a body of law, constitution, and with people, population. So the answer here is option D, A. Okay? Charles, am I stable now? I think
Yes.
okay. Charles and Lillian, you talk about the instability of the camera. I hope it's stable now. So let's go. The next question. Okay. Sorry. Okay. All right, let's see the next question. Political socialization is associated with, you must have come across this before, when you discuss political culture and political socialization. When we talk about political culture, it's talking about your orientations, your belief system, what you had, what you learned about your society, your political system. For instance, Nigeria. Okay? That's political culture. And if I've gone through this class before, you must have been told that the culture of every society has three components. We have cognitive, we have affective, and we have evaluative. So these are the three components of a political culture of any society. Your cognitive, your affective, and evaluative. Your cognitive are your belief system, your orientation. Your affective are what you are feeling about what you had about your society. And your evaluative is your personal opinion, your personal judgment. All right? So when we now talk about political socialization, it means the process of transmitting this political culture from one generation to another. What your great-grandfather told your grandfather told your father is telling you, and of course, hopefully you're going to tell your children. This is what they call socializing, political socialization. Transmission of political culture of a particular society from one generation to another. So political socialization is associated with military takeover? No. Transmission of political values, of course, from what I just explained to you. Okay? Political transition, that is changing of government, has nothing to do with this. Free choice of party program, no. So the most correct answer here is option B, the transmission of political values from one generation to another. The next question. According to Aristotle, a form of government in which the few rule for the benefit of all is the few rule. You must have heard about oligarchy. Oligarchy is a system where few people are ruling. And in one of our videos we did earlier on this channel, if you check up, we treated some of the types of oligarchy. Like talk about gerontocracy, plutocracy, aristocracy, kakitocracy, ochlocracy, mobocracy. All those stuffs, right? They're all forms of oligarchy. Oli or ola means what? Few. So when few people are ruling for the benefit of all, everybody, is it diarchy, aristocracy, autocracy, or oligarchy? The answer is what? Aristocracy. Few people ruling for the benefit of all. All right? B is the answer. The next question. Rule by the old people is known as, I just mentioned that now, rule by the old people. That's what they call geronto. Geronto is a Greek word that means old people ruling. All right? That is the answer. When we say feudal, feudal means land ownership. That's feudalism. Theo means theology. That's religion, theology. When a priest, a pastor, imam is ruling, that's theocratic. All right? Feudalism, ownership of land. Monarchy, of course, you know, ruling by a king or a queen. Okay, so the correct answer to this question, old people ruling, is gerontocracy, which is what? A form of oligarchy. I just explained that to you in the previous question. Oligarchy means few people ruling. Okay? Very well. As an executive, the commissioner is charged with the responsibility of, you know, when we talk about executive, we have executive at the levels of government. For instance, in Nigeria, we have 3 levels of government. We have the federal, we have the states, and of course, we have the local government, right? So the executive at these 3 levels. The executive at this federal level is led by the president and his ministers, or you call them the cabinet ministers, okay? So the ministers are the cabinet, all right? With the president. For the state, you have the governor and his what? And his commissioners, all right? The commissioners, okay? And local government, you have the chairman and his councillors, all right? Very well. So when we talk about the executive, the commissioner is charged with responsibility of what? Implementing laws, writing laws, giving loans, making laws, okay? Writing laws and making laws is synonymous to legislative organs of government, legislature, the National Assembly. So that has knocked out the option B and D. Giving loans, that has to do with the bank. That has nothing to do with levels of government. Okay? So the correct answer is what? Is A. The question is just trying to ask you what is the responsibility of executive as arm of government? Is to implement the law, execute the law, carry out the law, or the policies of government. Okay? The next question. Rules adjudication is a primary function of the, what do you mean by adjudication of law? To adjudicate law means to interpret, means to explain, means to define, to break down. And which organ of government is responsible for that? Remember, we have 3 organs of government: the legislature, the executive, and of course, judiciary. I just explained executive to you in the previous question. All right? So which of these organs adjudicate, interpret, explain, define the law, break down the law, punish offenders, to adjudicate, punish lawbreakers, punish offenders? The answer is judiciary. Option A is the correct answer. All right? Very well. The next question. The judiciary controls the executive in federal states through, okay, delegated legislation, judicial review, motion. For you to answer this question, you must have undertake a class on a topic called checks and balance. Checks and balances. Checks and balances is a principle in government that complements as well as contradicts the philosophy of separation of power. Okay? You know, separation of power was discussed by Charles Baron de Montesquieu, that French philosopher, that the 3 organs of government, legislature, executive, and judiciary, should be separated in performing their duties and also the personnel. But checks and balance seems to contradict as well as complement that position, that opportunity should be given to these 3 organs of government such a way that they can prevent arbitrary or abuse of power. Okay? So 3 special powers were given to these 3 organs of government to check one another. Are you with me? The power given to the legislature is called Act of Parliament. All right? With this Act of Parliament, the power to make law or make any law, the legislature can check the executive as well as check the judiciary. Okay? This is practicable according to the Nigerian Constitution we operate at the moment. Then the power given to the executive is called veto power. With this veto power, the executive can check the laws made by the legislature as well as check the appointment of judiciary. And the power given to the judiciary is called judiciary review. Okay? So with this power, the judiciary can declare any law that is not in consonance with the Nigerian Constitution as null and void, which means illegal and unconstitutional. So with this power, they check the legislature and check the executive. By this principle of checks and balance, the implication is that no organ of government is higher than the other. But they work together, and with these checks, they prevent arbitrary use of power. Okay? So the correct answer here is option B, option C, judicial review. Judicial review, just as I've explained in this place. Option C, judicial review. Okay? Now we'll see the next question. One major advantage of the unitary system is that it tends to make government, if you are one of those subscribers to this channel, you must have gone through one of our classes where we treated what they call system of government. And this system of government, either you call it system or you call it types of government, or forms or structure of government. We discuss unitary system, federal system, confederal system, presidential system, parliamentary or cabinet system, republican or representative system, and then monarchical system. All these in one of our videos you can check up later in our channel, system or types of government, where we explain all this stuff. Your understanding of this will help you to answer this question. Okay? Very well. Favor, thank you. I can see your chart. Well done. One major advantage, we're talking advantage of unitary system. By the way, what is unitary system? A unitary, from the word unit, is a system of government where political power is concentrated in one authority. This language is very important, concentrated in single or one authority. Okay? That's what we call unitary system. So what's an advantage when authority is concentrated? Free of controversy, somehow. And from the people is an advantage. Popular among the masses is an advantage. Strong and stable. It gives room for a strong and a stable political system. Unitary system, one major advantage is that it gives room for a strong and stable political system. But you know that's what we're practicing right in Nigeria. In Nigeria now we're operating federal system of government. And that's what we call Nigeria Federal Republic of Nigeria. Let's see the next question. Okay? The presidential system, I just listed all those systems of government for you that we have treated in one of our videos. So please you can check out those videos so that you can get an understanding of this system of government. We also mentioned their types and of course their advantages and disadvantages. Check out the video later and enjoy yourself. The presidential system differs from parliamentary system of government in that, okay, the principle of collective responsibility, the executive and legislative powers are few, powers of three organs of government are merged, determined. Now, there's something you need to understand by these two systems. For those that have gone through WAEC exams, this has come out several times, WAEC and NECO, where you are asked to clearly differentiate presidential system from parliamentary system, or this thing, or they ask you to give differences. Okay. Now, in a presidential system of government, remember, we have just one single leader, we call single executive, while here we have dual executive. Okay, please follow me. I'm using their characteristics for you to understand the answer we are going to arrive at. In a presidential system of government, this single man is called executive president. All right, just as you have in Nigeria today, in America. Okay? In this dual executive, we have two persons as the leader. One is a ceremonial president, the other is a what? Is a prime minister. We have done that before in Nigeria between 1960 and 1966, when you have Nnamdi Azikiwe as president, ceremonial, and of course Tafawa Balewa as the prime minister and head of government. All right? Please follow me gradually. We are trying to get to this question, to answer this question. Under this system or presidential system, actually we have single, we have executive president. Here, we also have fixed term of office for the president, 4 years. Okay? And being the president, this man appoints his cabinet ministers. Remember I told you that cabinet are the ministers, okay? So permit me to use the word cabinet minister. It's tautology anyway, because cabinet also is ministers. Okay? So the president appoints his cabinet ministers from anywhere. He can appoint his friends, he can appoint his girlfriend, he can appoint his son, anybody as a minister. He has the right to do that by the constitution as a president. And when he appoints you, you are responsible to him as a president. If you do well, he praise you. If you do wrong, he fires you. So he hire and fire. You understand? That's how powerful an executive president is. Okay? And that's why we said these ministers, they have what? Individual responsibility. Unlike in a parliamentary system of government, where you have the ceremonial president and the prime minister, it is the prime minister that appoints the cabinet ministers. And these cabinet ministers are appointed from the house, the legislative house. I'm going somewhere now. Okay? Now, for appointing them, if one of them fails, all of them are failed. If one does well, everyone will be praised. And that's what we call it what? Collective responsibility of the minister. Are you with me? Now, because the prime minister appoints his minister from the legislative house, what does that suggest to you? Somebody who is a member of executive is also a member of one legislature. That's what we call fusion of power. Fusion of power. A situation whereby a member of legislature is also a member of executive. That is applicable in a parliamentary system, but not in a presidential system. Are you with me? Very well. Okay? So, why do we answer this question now? How do you differentiate presidential system from parliamentary system? The principle of collective responsibility applies. It applies where in the parliamentary system. Okay? But we're trying to look at the distinguishing characteristics of presidential system that make it different from what? Parliamentary system. Remember I said here the exclusion of power. So what's the opposite of exclusion of power? Is separation of power, which is applicable in the presidential system. The three legislature, the three organs of government are different. Executive and legislature powers are fused under what is that? Parliamentary. So option A is the characteristics of parliamentary system. Option B is the characteristics of parliamentary system. And we're looking at characteristics of presidential system. Okay? Powers of the three systems of government are merged. This is not applicable. The three organs is never merged. So this is a distraction. This option C is a distraction. The power that are merged is that of executive and legislature, as I explained to you, official of power. No C. So the term of office of the president is limited. That's the correct answer. I told you that the president has a fixed term of office of 4 years. And he may be re-elected for another 4 years to make what? 8 years. Okay? Very well. All right. Lillian Ndule, your comment is not clear to me. You are saying parliamentary system is also the head of government. I don't understand what you mean. Parliamentary system is a system of government. The head of government is the prime minister. The prime minister is a member of the parliament. He's the head of executive member of what? Parliament. And that is why he can be removed by the parliament, himself and his cabinet ministers, through what we call vote of no confidence. Okay? Lillian, I hope you get that. All right? Let's save our time. If you don't get that clear, you can still send me private chat, Lillian. Which of the following advocates equitable distribution of wealth? Equitable, that's equal. Huh? No manipulation, no exploitation. Which one is that? Huh? Capitalism? I hope you have an idea about this. Capitalism. These are what Karl Marx called mode of production. Karl Marx discussed mode of production, which is evolution of a society. All right? Where we start from communalism, collective society, communalism, and that goes to what? Feudalism. I mentioned that earlier in the second question, feudalism, ownership of land. And from that point, it leads to what? Capitalism. And from capitalism, which is exploitation, price mechanism, it developed to what? Socialism. And when socialism is being practiced for a very long time, eventually it will lead to what? Communism. All right? Which is the end product or end result of capitalism. This is what Karl Marx stated as the evolution of the society. So, what we are concerned about now is these two for this question. What is capitalism? When there's private ownership, individual ownership of the available resources to decide what to, who to, and for whom to produce, as we are told in economics. They control the society, bourgeoisies. The likes of Dangote in Nigeria, the likes of Hotelas. They're the bourgeoisies that controls the economy. That's capitalism. The socialism is opposite of capitalism when public is in control. Who is the public? The government. That's a command economy. We also did a video on this. We had a lecture on this, explaining all these, the processes and the features. Please, you can check out the video on our list, and then you can always get back to us. All right? So, the one that advocates equitable here is socialism, because governments take charge of all the available resources and then do justice to it. If you study very well, when you get to an institution, you'll be told that the reason why socialism developed was because of the exploitation between the rich and the poor. Okay, the bourgeoisies and the proletariats. And then there's a need for government to come in to prevent breakdown of law and order. Socialism is answer to this question 12. All right, the next question. A constitution that is difficult to amend is, okay, if you have gone through a class of constitution, we have 7 types of constitution. 7. We have also done a video on this. Please, you can check up on our archive. We have a whole lot for you. Check up on the archive and also introduce your friends to it to learn more. So, we have 7 types of constitution, but these types can be classified to 3. Let me just quickly remind you what we did in that session, one of our videos. Based on documentation, documentation, we have 2 types of constitution, written and unwritten. Okay? Based on amendment process of changing it, amendment. We also have 2 types of constitution. We have rigid and of course flexible. Okay? And based on the system of government, we have 3 types of constitution: unitary, federal, and confederal. Please check out the video on constitution and get better understanding on this. Okay? Now, a quick fix for this question. A constitution that is difficult to amend, the answer is rigid. From the word rigid, understand simple English. Rigid, something that is difficult, cumbersome, not easy. Some people used to have this wrong impression that a rigid constitution is one that cannot be changed. No, that is wrong. No constitution that cannot be changed. But we are concerned about the rigidity, the process, the cumbersomeness, the difficulty that's encountered in changing such constitution. For instance, the Nigerian constitution is written, so most of the written constitutions are rigid. It is difficult to change any part of the Nigerian constitution today. How and why? For you to change any element in the Nigerian constitution, there must be 2/3 majority of the National Assembly. And in the National Assembly, we have 109 senators and 360 members of the House of Representatives. So altogether, there are 469. So you can do the mathematics. For you to change any element in Nigeria, 2/3 of these members must agree. And after they agree, then they still have to send that change to each of the state house of assembly. And remember, we have 36 states. All right? So 2/3 of these 36 states must also agree on any changes to take place. What is 2/3 of 36 states? That's about 24 states must also agree with them. So you can see how difficult it is for you to change a rigid written constitution. Answer is A. difficult to amend. I hope you're enjoying your class, right? So please stick with us and also share the link with your friends so they can also learn and enjoy what you're enjoying. Which of the following constitution is more suitable for centralization of power? Now, two things should come to your mind from what I've discussed with you today. One, unitary system. Okay, should come to your mind right away. Very well. So, and then another one should be the types, the documentation of the Constitution. When I talk about documentation, I mentioned two to you. I said written and what? Unwritten. Okay? So, which one do you think is good for a centralized power? Huh? It is unwritten Constitution. Every unwritten Constitution is flexible in nature. And every written Constitution is what? Rigid in nature. Do you get it right now? Huh? Every written Constitution is rigid. Every unwritten Constitution is flexible. The word flexible means it's easy to change. It's easy to change. Alright? Oh yeah, guys, Stephen, you said you cannot see what? You cannot see Latin? I don't understand. Retype your observation so that I can respond to you. Okay? Let's see the next question. Which of the following types of citizenship cannot be withdrawn? Citizenship that cannot be withdrawn. This is being a legal member of a particular society. Alright? The one that cannot be withdrawn. By conquest, by birth, by citizenship, by naturalization. The one that cannot be by birth. By citizenship, by conquest, by birth. By birth means your parents somehow are members of that particular society. Okay? So let's pick that option. Let's go. Alright? The right of citizens to vote is, the right to vote is universal suffrage, nationality suffrage, electoral suffrage. What we say, I think this should have been universal adult suffrage. I would have preferred this option A, assuming this thing is there, universal adult suffrage. It means all qualified adults are allowed to vote. All qualified adults are allowed to vote. And the Constitution has already decided who is an adult. Who is an adult, for instance, in Nigeria, is somebody who is 18 years and above. And that's what we call universal adult suffrage. But I'm sorry, adult is not there, but it's still universal, unity. National suffrage, nothing like that. Electoral suffrage, not like that. Adult suffrage. Only adults are allowed to vote. This is also liable to be correct. So here, we have two answers here. Universal suffrage, adult suffrage. This universal, there's an element, like I told you, is missing here. Adults. What is a universal? Universal means everybody can vote, including children. But adult suffrage specify, this is an adjective qualifying the kind of suffrage. Meanwhile, you should know the meaning of suffrage itself. What is suffrage? Another word for suffrage is franchise, which means what? The right to vote and be voted for. The right to vote and be voted for. Chidenda, you are raising your hand. Can you just type your observation, your question, so that I can respond to you? Lemba, at Lemba Chizenda. At Lemba Chizenda. You are raising your hand. Type your observation, then I will respond to you. Okay, very well. So, if you ask me now, for this question, the most appropriate answer I will pick is option D, because option D already specifies adults, and adult means 18 years and above. Option A, like I said, would have been appropriate if we had universal adult, if adult is added there. But adult is not added, so I cannot pick it, because the word universal means could be anybody. So, adult suffrage, option D. Okay. We might need to start to increase our speed, because we have a lot to go. Alright? We have not even gotten to half of the questions and our time is running fast. So we might have to speed up so for you to catch up with me. Okay? A political party is different from a pressure group in needs. I want to believe that you know the difference between a political party and a pressure group. A political party is an association, likewise as pressure groups and association. But what differentiates them is their primary aim. What is the aim of a political party? The aim of a political party is to contest for election and secure political power. All right? And then when they get to power, they carry out their manifesto. What is the manifesto? Their programs, their agenda, the party. But for pressure group, they don't aim at contesting. They are not contesting for any election. They are not interested in political power. All right? But what they do is only to influence government. Look at the word. Influence government policies as it affects not everybody, not you, not me, but as it affects their members. So all their fight, all their struggles is for their members. And that is why another name for pressure group is what? Interest group, which means they're only interested in the interests of their members. Look at that word. They're only interested in the interests of their members. And so look at very sarcastic. They say they are selfish group. Why? Because they're not fighting for all. They're fighting for themselves. Okay? Anyway, don't call them selfish. Call them interest group. Alright? So a political party is different from pressure group. So the emphasis now is on the political party. Why is it different from pressure group? Objective, organization, strategic, source of finance. From a pressure group, in its objective, organization, strategic, source of finance. I think the answer is in subjective. I just stated what is the objective of a political party? To contest for election, to win political power, and to carry out their manifesto. Alright? But pressure group is not so. So they're not the same. Okay? Yes, Flora Agene. Yes, we do online classes. You can reach out to us. We can arrange that. Flora Agene. Yes, there's online classes. We can arrange that. Okay? Let's go on. Right. So, one of the functions of pressure groups is to functions. There are many functions of pressure group, but one of them. Okay? I've just given you an highlight of what a pressure group is. An interest group. There are 5 for the interest of their members. Alright? Nominate the president. Oh, wow. This is an aberration. That is for political party anyway. Okay? But we are talking about pressure group. Alright? So, nothing like that. Prepare the budget. Wow. That's a function of executive. They are not executive. Okay? Alright? Articulate the opinion of their members. Remember I told you they fight for their members. And we'll call them what? Interest group. Contest election to say, oh wow, this is political party. So I just explained that to you in the previous question. So this answer is very cheap for you. Option C, straight and direct. Okay? I hope you're enjoying this class. Please subscribe to this channel and also share with your friends so also they can learn. And then we want to prepare you so hard so by the time you get to your exam hall, you start smiling. Because most of these questions I'm treating with you is just see them flying out in your exams. Okay? And if you want online discussion with us, also reach out to us. We can also arrange that for you. Under the 1979 Constitution, statutory allocation of revenue to local government council is the responsibility of the. Now, when we talk about statutory allocation, the word statutory means legal, by law. All right? All statutory allocation comes from one account, which is the federation account, from the center, from the federal government. And federal government, every month, they share this money called allocation, federal allocation. They share among the federal, the states, and of course the local government. Not equal, but each one has percentage of any available amount available. So if we have 50 billion for the month of February to share, there's a percentage that's meant for the state, for the government, for the federal, and also for local government. I think local government has 15, and I think state has 35. That if I've done a class under what they call Nigerian federalism. Nigerian federalism, that's one of the last questions towards the end of your syllabus before you do international organization. Under Nigerian federalism, you will do what they call revenue allocation. Under that revenue allocation, these things will be mentioned to you. Okay? So, statutory allocation is sharing of Nigerian money by the federal government among the 3 levels of government: federal, state, and local government. So it's the responsibility of who? House of Assembly, National Economic Council, Federal Legislature, Council of State. The members of assembly is for the state, so the state cannot be sharing money for everybody. National Economic Council is made up of the president, the ministers, and of course, I think governors too, all right? Not legislature. Legislature is not the one that share money for them. They share money for them, no. The Council of State is talking about the president and of course, some retired or past presidents, okay? They are the one that make up the Council of State. So past president, you just advise the president how to go about his operations as the president. I think I can pick National Economic Council because the president is there, the ministers are there, the central bank governor is there, and of course governors, the state governors are there, where this allocation is done. Okay, B. The next question. Okay. Under Nigeria's Second Republic, the Senate was under the leadership of Second Republic was 1979. That was when we have Alhaji Shehu Shagari. Shehu Shagari was the president that time. Okay? So the man that was the Senate president that time, the head of Senate, National Assembly, was Joseph Wires. Joseph Wires was the Senate president as at that. I cannot forget that one in a hurry. All right? Okay, the next question. The Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission is statutorily empowered to determine the remuneration for, of course, political office holders. This group, or this agency of government, was created. We call them RMAFC. Okay? They are the one that determine the salaries and allowances of public officials, from the president to the Senate president, the vice, and what have you, the governors, all of them. That's what it does. Political office holders. All right? B. The next question. Excuse me. Okay. The primary function of code of conduct. Primary. Anytime you see the question that's talking about primary, fundamental, basic, main, major, please take note in JAMB. Very, very important for you. These adjectives are very important. In other words, they perform many other functions, but the basic one, the major one, the main one, the fundamental one is what they're asking you. For instance, looking at this one now, ensuring minimum standard of morality. By the provision of this code of conduct below, what the provision stated is that they must ensure high level of standard of morality, high level. But this was talking about minimum standard, so I can't pick that. Retain custody of declaration, they do that, yes, it's their responsibility. Receive declaration of assets, yes. They ensure due process by public officers, yes. They perform all this. They perform all this. But the primary one has to do with this declaration of assets. Retain, receive, declaration of assets. Retain, declaration, receive. Let me pick this receive. But until when you receive, you cannot retain. Now, you know that by the provision of the Constitution and this agency policy of government, every public servant, particularly president, vice, governor, those top officials, they are supposed to do what they call declaration of assets. From the very first date they took oath of office, they declare the assets, and when they are leaving, they also declare the assets. But unfortunately in Nigeria, they are not doing it. And when they do it, nobody has access to what they have done. If not, somebody who is nobody before, when he became a political office